Welcome to a Wednesday afternoon edition of On the Pen. I'm your host, Dave Knapp, man of the Mounjaro. That's why I'm here. You are on the pen. Wegovy, Saxenda, Victoza, Trulicity, Mounjaro, Zepbound Compound. That pen, it's what we talk about each and every day here at On the Pen. And we bring you patient-centric obesity medicine news from the patient perspective that empowers you to have more competent and confident conversations with your medical providing team. Because at the end of the day, what good is all of the new medication in the world if you don't know about it and you don't know how to broach those conversations with your doctor? We've got a lot to talk about today, but I mostly wanted to jump in and take your questions in sort of an ask me anything style format. So if you're watching on any of the platforms and you have questions about GLP-1s, I've been immersed in this world now for about the last 3 years of my life. Immersed, I would say, in a way that very few people on the planet have been, even doctors. I myself am not a medical provider. I am just a dude who is trying to get healthy and using GLP-1 peptides along the way to help me get there. And so I appreciate you all hanging out with me today. Kathy has a question over on YouTube and wants to know Medicare for those on maintenance. Yeah, this is the kind of looming question out there. And so we know that starting in April of 2026, Medicare is going to be adding obesity medicine for a $50 copay. Is all that you'll pay is $50 if you're on Medicare. Now, there are some BMI requirements. So there's a lot of questions around those who have maybe gotten to a goal weight with a compound medication or gotten to the goal weight with a brand name medication and whether they will be able to get these medicines covered for maintenance under Medicare. Now, we don't have a clear answer from that on that from the pharmaceutical companies. We don't have a super clear answer on Medicare. There's a lot of unknowns, but here would be my assumption on that. My assumption would be that it would work very similarly to the private pay plans where the doctors who are filling out your prior authorization for your medicine should be using your starting weight. Obesity is a chronic disease. This disease or this change of the rules in Medicare sort of acknowledges this much. And because it's a chronic disease, you will need treatment even when your weight is under control. The disease of obesity is still there, and without treatment will rear its head back. So my sense on that one is that ultimately your doctor will need to, if you're on maintenance, use your starting weight as your weight when they fill out your prior authorization. And so I think that's going to be the main key there to get coverage for obesity medicine if you are already sort of at the maintenance phase. Now, if you also have comorbidities, those things should apply as well. Heart failure with preserved ejection fraction, sleep apnea for Zepbound, moderate sleep apnea with Zepbound, obstructive sleep apnea. So yeah, there's not a lot of clarity on that, but that's sort of where I'm believing that things are going to be landing for the community there with the Medicare coverage, which again is going to kick in at the beginning of April in 2026. Cherry Pie just got off work. We heard anything from Lily about Zepbound prices changing this year, or we have to wait till 2026? So we haven't. The last we heard was that the first of the year was when these companies were planning on rolling out the new price. Now, of course, Novo Nordisk made a big move on Monday and announced that all of the Wegovy products will be at the discounted rate starting immediately. So if you use NovoCare for cash pay Wegovy, you're now going to pay $199 for your first 2 months if you're new to Wegovy for the starter 2 doses. And then after that, Wegovy will be $349. Now, one of the things that we talked about on a shorter video that we did earlier today is, will the 7.2 milligram dose of Wegovy, which we know has gotten priority review from the FDA, so we should have that on the market within the next couple of months. We know that ultimately the weight loss with 7.2 milligrams of Wegovy gets up there pretty close to what Zepbound does over 72 weeks. And so for those patients, will they have to pay the $349 or will they bring it at a higher dollar amount to the market? If they bring it at the $349, that could ultimately force the Zepbound prices a little bit lower if they want to maintain their market share. But of course, there's a lot of other things to consider with Wegovy in terms of side effects. A lot of people who have gotten to the 2.4 milligram dose of Wegovy say, I can't imagine taking more than that. Because of the side effects. And you did see about, I think it was like around 70% of the patients taking 7.2 milligrams of Wegovy did report some sort of adverse GI side effect. Most of it was nausea, but of course, within those GI side effects, you also have rolled up vomiting and diarrhea, etc. Some of those other unpleasant side effects. Hey, Dave, strange Zepbound side effect for me has been that I have become what a wonderful comment you've added to the to the stream here, Diamond Cutter. That sounds like a very personal issue. And I just, for one, thank you for being brave enough to share that with us all today. Diamond Cutter 7 on YouTube is a very, very brave soul. I heard that Lilly may be replacing the vials with multi-inject pens. So not replacing the vials, but in addition to the vials, they will be adding the quick pen. The quick pen is going to be basically an adjustable pen, kind of similar to what we see with the... Hey, we got another one. Thanks for the follow. Whoever just followed on TikTok, you see the thing behind me kind of goes nuts when people follow on TikTok. That's in real time. So once you follow, you'll see that change. So if you're not following on TikTok, please follow along. But the Quick Pen is an adjustable dose pen, kind of similar to what you see with the Ozempic pen, but Eli Lilly's flavor of that pen. Ruben, it took 6 months of appeals from Claimable and doctor's office filing appeals to finally get approval for Wegovy. I was on Zepbound, but my company switched to Aetna and then refused coverage. But you were able to get coverage for Wegovy through Claimable. That is amazing. If you are diabetic and have Medicare, Mounjaro will be $50 as well. I know that the price of Mounjaro is coming down for Medicare as well. I believe that you should expect that those prices will be very, very similar for the diabetes version of these drugs as well. Thank you for those who have questions, who have dropped those in the comments. Really, really appreciate all of you. If I unfollow and follow again, will it keep changing constantly? It will. It will. So yeah, make it go crazy. But if you unfollow, then it goes away. If you follow, yeah. So yeah, have at her. Let's see here. Let me catch up with the comments here. It's good to have you all here. If you're just joining, we're just doing an Ask Me Anything live stream on the topic of obesity medicine, specifically type 2 diabetes and obesity medicines of Mounjaro and Zepbound, Ozempic and Wegovy. Those are the four most popular medications that people who come into these live streams are on. And we talk about them all day, every day, or all day, every day, as we say here at On the Pen. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being the best part of what we do. Any topics that you would like to discuss, just drop them in the comments of this video. I'm wondering if you all saw the news on the reduction in mortality for people diagnosed with colon cancer. So colon cancer is a obviously terrible diagnosis to get, but if you're on a GLP-1, your chances of surviving that after 5 years are much greater. In fact, I believe it was a 15% mortality rate for those who were diagnosed with colon cancer 5 years out from diagnosis. There was a 15% mortality rate if you were on a GLP-1. If you were not on a GLP-1, it jumped all the way up to 37%. So one of the things that we're seeing here is that with the treatment of GLP-1 medications, researchers are starting to posit that GLP-1s help to shrink tumors, slow the growth of cancer. As we know, one of the main foods that cancer feeds on is glucose. And so obviously controlling that, there may be some benefit with the treatment of these medications. So hopefully we'll see some more research in that vein. Do you think at least the latest moves of Lilly and Novo had made on military members and their families on TRICARE will help? Some TRICARE plans don't cover GLP-1s. My plan does. Other plans don't. I know there's been a lot of movement with a lot of the government plans, but the government will be purchasing these drugs for $250 moving forward. And so what the different plans will offer these for outside of Medicare will depend on the plan administrators in the state, and specifically with TRICARE with the military and how they handle their own plans, but they should be able to purchase those medications for $250. So I would expect TRICARE coverage to expand over the next 6 months as well. How impactful is Lilly's dropping CVS Caremark? 50,000 people is a lot to be making money off of. Yeah, I think I don't know that it's a good question. Lilly dropping CVS Caremark is certainly not a small thing, like losing any large client. But I have a feeling that it'll be a small footnote in the history of CVS Caremark. saw the article about colon cancer, and I was going to ask early news in FDA approvals for other diagnosis. There aren't any real updates for the other indications of these drugs right now. But when you look at the clinical trials that are ongoing, we see clinical trials in the way of alcohol abuse disorder. We see opioid abuse disorder. We see the use of these in long COVID. There's some studies going on checking out tirzepatide in long COVID, osteoarthritis. And then we're seeing sort of these drugs move into the field of immunology. So things like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, psoriatic arthritis, all of these things are being looked at with all of these medications as they discover the different pathways that these medications can help to solve. And a lot of that goes back to the mechanism, especially with tirzepatide, of lowering inflammation in the body. They seem to have a profound effect on lowering inflammation. So any chronic condition associated with inflammation, a lot of people are seeing benefit from that. If you're seeing benefit in the reduction of inflammation for one of your chronic disorders, put it in the comments of this video. Let us know how using a GLP has helped with that. What if the self-pay prices for Lilly's orforglipron will be, and will it be available? The self-pay for orforglipron is going to be $150 for the couple starter doses, and it's going to go up to, I believe, $350 for the upper doses, which is going to be interesting to see what the uptake on that is when you consider that, you can get Wegovy, which is, especially if you get up to that 7.2 milligrams for $350, quite a bit more efficacious than orforglipron is going to be. And I'm still skeptical about how much weight loss people will see with orforglipron in the real world. I really pray that the price is going down, that more insurance companies will start to cover GLP-1s. I'm constantly emailing my HR lady about it. I think that's one of the things that we get asked a lot here at On the Pen is how are these prices going to be affected for those with coverage. And I think over time, you'll see that the insurance coverage for Medicare and the price indexes there become sort of a bellwether for the private insurance plans. And so we'll see how that all shakes out. But yeah, stay on your HR people there, Cherry Pie, because they're the ones that help to make those decisions. Obviously, Lilly and Novo have been the only manufacturers in town for a while. And are there any other manufacturers close to coming to market with their own? It's a great question. The closest one to coming to market is going to be Boehringer Ingelheim with a drug called survodutide, which is a GLP-1 co-agonist. It's GLP-1 and GLP-1 and glucagon. It seems like that will be a potential, it won't separate too far, if at all. I don't even know that it'll get to the level of tirzepatide, but they will definitely have some indications in terms of liver disease because they've been running those studies sort of in parallel. So we will see that. We'll see that come to market within the next, I would say, within the next 12 months, Boehringer Ingelheim. And I think they're partnering with a company called Innovent on that one. When retatrutide enters the market, will that impact the cost of tirzepatide and semaglutide to go cheaper? It could possibly. I think it's going to be interesting. One of the things we learned in a conference call with the Lilly CEO that we were invited to a couple of weeks ago was that retatrutide was not part of the most favored nations discussions. I think you're going to see retatrutide, especially if they're successful in getting it classified as a biologic, come to market as a very, very expensive drug for people with more advanced metabolic disease. So we'll have to see sort of what happens with that one. Does Claimable advocate for approvals for other medications as well? They do, Deb. If you go to getclaimable.com/OTP is kind of the gateway. You can click around and find other medications that are covered. They do some stuff in immunology. I know with like rheumatoid arthritis and even some cancer drugs. They have a much better success rate with those other medications than they do with the GLPs, but about 80%, they said. On the GLPs, it's about 50%. So getclaimable.com/OTP. I'm always on the lookout for FDA approving for type 1s. I cut my insulin use by more than half since being on Zepbound. Okay, so Calamity Jane, one of the things I want to say is I just did a podcast interview with the Juice Box podcast, which is one of the largest type 1 diabetes podcasts in the world. And we get into some of that discussion there. So be on the lookout for that. I will be posting that to my channel within the next couple of days. I think I just got the audio just today. So we'll post that up on our podcast, and then the audio will come over here to YouTube as well. And we'll have him over here as well. But we would love to see more being done in the realm of type 1 diabetes and GLP-1s. And I think that there will be over time. Reading through some of the comments on TikTok. Appreciate y'all following along. If you are watching on TikTok and you are new, hit the follow button and you're going to send this thing flipping and flapping. So make sure you hit follow along. I probably said that like 80 times, but I bought it because I'm ADD and it's like a shiny new object. So I love it when that thing goes off behind me. So hit the follow button if you're on watching on TikTok. You are welcome, Calamity Jane. She says, I'll check out the podcast. Bless you. Appreciate that. Anna, welcome, says she's lost 30 pounds on compounded tirzepatide. Just had my primary doctor order it because you have sleep apnea. Anxious to see whether your Part D Cigna plan will approve. I hope they will. And of course, moderate obstructive sleep apnea is an indication for Zepbound in terms of getting it covered by Medicare. So that would be great. So the dude's in the house. Welcome, buddy. Good to see you. Spoonie's in the house. Welcome. Good to see you both. Thank you for hanging out with us here. Just doing a kind of an AMA and ask me anything about the news about obesity medicine. We've been talking through just some of the things that are going on in the obesity medicine world. So thank you for being here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. That's one of the ways that you can support the work that I do. So I appreciate you, those of you who are doing that. CJ1 says, what other shifts in society do you see as more people are on GLP-1s? Others who have lost weight go on to maintenance. Already see fast food chains and protein menu items, more protein products. What other shifts do I see in society? You know, I think where my mind tends to go on that, and I was thinking about that this morning in terms of the elderly population, such a large swath of elderly folks that are going to be getting access to obesity medicine over the next few months. Starting April 1st, it'll be covered under Medicare. You know, one of my biggest concerns for the elderly population is that they're not going to get enough counseling in these medications when they're prescribed. And we know that the topic of muscle wasting is something that is very important when we're talking about longevity, quality of life, and especially just long-term health outcomes for the elderly population. So we're working on some resources, developing them in tandem with some doctors that we will be able to introduce you to here shortly. We've got a website that we're working on, and we're going to try to provide resources to the best of our ability as we help to navigate them. So as I think about the millions that will get access through Medicare, my main concern is just how can we make sure that they have good information and that they know and understand, you know, from a health perspective, what are some of the things that they need to be looking out for when they start a GLP-1. I'm excited for that population to get access to these medications, but I do also have some reservations. Now, I think on the broader topic of GLP-1s, I think what we're going to see is these really, it's hard to refute at this point that these drugs have become the first true longevity drug of my lifetime in terms of just their undeniable ability to extend life. We've seen study after study after study after study that tends to show this. So I just do think we're looking to a world where we will see these used more broadly outside of the indication of obesity and perhaps in people that don't have any obesity at all. We're already seeing these drugs tried for alcohol use disorder. Now, not everybody with alcohol use disorder has obesity, so they're not all going to want to lose weight. So what does the dosing look like when you want to take advantage of the drug for maybe a certain benefit, like the inflammation reduction properties or alcohol use disorder without weight loss? We see that Eli Lilly's already looking at a new drug, which is a GLP-GIP combo like tirzepatide, but they're looking at it specifically in the area of alcohol use disorder and some of the neurological disorders that are out there. It's called brenipatide. We did a video on this just a couple of weeks ago. So brenipatide, if you look it up, BRENIPATIDE, brenipatide. You can check that out. I think maybe we even have something up on our Substack about that up at obesity.news. But that's a great question, CJ. I appreciate the question today. CJ also wants to know, in your opinion, how do you think insurance companies would choose to cover or not long-term maintenance on GLP-1s for people who need to stay on the meds for life? I think they've looked for ways to not cover them, but I think as the prices come down, it'll be a which one makes sense for maintenance. I think the orals are going to be a big maintenance play. When you look at the actual clinical trial that's going on for orforglipron right now, they moved everybody from the SURMOUNT trial after that trial ended. The one specifically that was testing tirzepatide versus semaglutide, when people got to their goal weight or got to the end of the trial, I should say, they were given the chance to start the orforglipron trial, and they were given the chance to go on orforglipron. It's a blind blind study. So some got placebo, but if they started to regain, what we learned from the last earnings call, if they started to regain on Orpho, they were given Orpho as a rescue med. So kind of interesting there. We'll actually get clinical trial data, and I think you'll see orforglipron ultimately get that maintenance indication for obesity medicine. And we already know that the smaller doses of Orpho cash pay are going to be around 150. So I think it will become something that is affordable for people and affordable for insurance companies, and then affordable for people as well. Dave, new camera, who does? Picture quality is absolutely remarkable. Thank you. I've been making some investments in the live stream, so I appreciate you noticing that. Losing it grays, appreciate you today. Let's be honest, it's important. It's probably as important as insulin. Yeah, you might be able to make that argument just in terms of the broad amount of people that it affects, and the how much it extends life, right? Obviously people need insulin today to live. So it is definitely different in terms of if somebody runs out of their GLP-1 today, they're not going to die. If they run out of their insulin, they might. So a little bit different, but I definitely see the point that you're making there for sure. Thank you for the comments about the camera. If you're watching on YouTube, really appreciate it. Coming up for air here because we're caught up on the questions on YouTube. Thank you for being here. If you're here and you're new, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. It's one of the easiest ways that you can support the work that we do here at On the Pen. And if you are down to clown, we've got some excellent savings opportunities from our sponsors. I'm trying to look underneath because of the positioning of my camera here. But we've got some savings opportunities. If you check out otplinks.com, we've got special savings just for members of the On the Pen community. So if you go to otplinks.com, you're going to be able to check out some amazing deals from our sponsors of our podcast, including Shed, Claimable, and Shape'a, as well as integrative peptides, the orally bioavailable peptides that help support your health journey. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for being the best part of what we do at On the Pen. We're just doing a quick AMA live stream this afternoon. I hope that you're all doing well. You're going to go over to YouTube to check out the camera. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. You're going to see every pore on my face. You can see the sweat beads on my nose building up. I kid. I'm not working up a sweat yet, but let's see here. Oh, y'all catch that? Somebody just followed on TikTok. Thanks for the follow on TikTok. Whoever that was, let me know in the comments. Let's see. I think I may have missed. Oh, this is a great question because I think a lot of people are asking this question. What's going on with the savings cards? Are they going away? I don't believe they're going away. And in fact, Anne, will you make a note that we need to reach out to Lily to ask them about savings cards? I do believe that the savings cards are coming. Last year, people are asking me this question at this time too. And I said, I'll tell you that now what I said then, it would be very, very strange for a drug manufacturer to not renew a savings card for a drug that's under patent. However, because of the cash pay channels that have opened up with this, everything's a little bit different this time around. So we will have to see. I still expect that there will be savings cards for those with insurance, but I also would expect that they will be changing. I would definitely expect a change, and I would expect that announcement to come soon, but stay tuned. Make sure that you follow, hit subscribe if you're on YouTube, hit follow if you're on TikTok. We'll reach out to the folks at Eli Lilly and see if we can get some clarity on savings card for 2026 for Zepbound and Mounjaro. And as soon as we have that information, we'll make a video on it, but you got to make sure you hit subscribe. And if you're on YouTube, hit the bell for notifications. That's a fancy way to make sure that you get everything you need. A really good question from over on TikTok from our friend Jamie, Triplet Dad of TikTok, one of the longtime members of OTP, wants to know if they'll be able to keep up with demand for these drugs as these prices have changed. And I think that they will be able to. And the reason I do is because they have billions and billions of dollars of manufacturing capacity now that they didn't a couple years ago. And I believe it was like at a clip of about every second quarter, they were doubling their manufacturing capacity. So they've easily tripled or quadrupled their manufacturing capacity from when we first were dealing with shortages of these medications. Can you tell us a little bit more about the move to doing the show full time? What was the day job before? How easy and hard was it to decide to change? And what was the conversation like at home? Really appreciate that question. from Michael Oshia. Thank you for the question. Let's talk about that. So when I first started doing OTP, I was a portable traffic signal salesperson, but I've also kept one foot in the marketing world my whole life. So, or I should say, since I started doing marketing about 10, 12 years ago. So I've always done marketing. So when I left that job, I went to sell X-ray equipment for about a year, and then decided to go on sort of the path of just doing the marketing full time instead of that X-ray job. And so it's kind of a 50-50 between on the pen and the marketing job that I was doing. When I decided to hang up the marketing job, which was about 6 months ago, it was more of a natural progression. So when you talk about the conversations had at home, the conversations have mostly, frankly, been around the topic of insurance and how we're going to navigate all that. But at the end of the day, this was less about one specific conversation and sort of an ongoing conversation as things with On the Pen have evolved. Of course, we rely on you. We rely on your subscribes, your shares. All of that builds our platform out for the sponsors, which actually make the world go round here at On the Pen. So it was the sponsors and the sponsors believing in what we do that really have helped us to make that leap and to make it confidently. So I appreciate that question. Really, really appreciate it. Deb says, beautiful camera, beautiful face. You're such a sweetheart. Thank you, Deb. I appreciate that. Lots of comments on the camera over on YouTube. So thank you for noticing. I appreciate that. Let's see. Another question unrelated to GLP-1's puppy update. How is she? Ella, come here. Ella, come here. Let's see here. I think I can probably switch cameras. Let me hang tight here. I'll give you the puppy update that everyone's asking for. Let's see. Camera, extra camera. There we go. Okay, Ella, come here. So she's at work with me today. You can see her here hanging out in the office. You can also see Hambone. Say hi, Hambone. So my sister Ann has been working with me now for about, how long? I don't know, like officially maybe 6-8 months. Has it been longer?
Yeah, like just here and there for like a year and a half.
Yeah, like off and on helping with different things for about a year at least. But then more like in the office, basically since we got the office here. And so we've got, Ann has been helping me out with a lot of the day-to-day stuff. So when we talk about like, how are you able to do this full time? I mean, part of it is that I have help. So the help that Ann provides on the pen, you may have noticed if you're following the Substack that, let me see if I Sorry, we got the audio back. So the benefit of having Ella here is that she doesn't have to be alone every day, because that's kind of a sad existence for a golden retriever who is just like starved for attention at all times. Even when you're giving her attention, it's like golden retrievers have attention noise, like we have food noise. It's like even when they're getting attention, they're worried about when they're going to get attention next. And so if you've ever dealt with food noise, I have to think that's kind of how it feels to be a golden retriever. It's like, I'm getting all this attention, but when am I going to get attention again? When am I going to get more pets, more pets, more pets, more pets? We're like food noise or attention noise, either way. If you're watching on TikTok, you can see Ella. And here's a full view of the office too here. If you're on TikTok, you can see the new counter that we've got behind us. That's pretty cool. So hit follow if you're watching on TikTok. She is adorable. She's a sweet, sweet girl, but she just needs love and attention at all times, which so do I. I mean, that's probably why I started a podcast, to be honest with you. love and attention at all times. I just need somebody to be listening to me yip yap. Essentially. Yeah, there's the puppy update. You asked for it, you got it. So thanks for asking. Let's see here. Labs are the same way, somebody said. Yeah. Let's see. We got any other questions here? Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me. We're going to be doing more of these. I think I'd like to get it down to a routine where we're doing this at the same time every day. We'll probably have to get our heads together on when we'll be in the office to be able to accomplish that. But I do want to be able to go live and take questions again as the millions of people that gain access to these medications through Medicare and Medicaid over the coming months start to jump in and try to get good information. We're gonna have to be doing these lives. We're gonna have to be giving good information about how to manage side effects, how to prioritize protein and get good movement in and all that stuff. Losing It Gray says GoodRx has a lifetime offer. New patients pay $199 for the first 2 monthly fills of Wegovy injection. And then $349. Why can't Lilly do this? So this is not a GoodRx offer. GoodRx offers it because GoodRx is now offering GLP-1 prescriptions. Like they're basically starting their own telehealth, right? Who isn't? So this is actually a NovoCare thing. So anyone can have their doctor prescribe it and send it into NovoCare, and you can get it delivered straight to your doorstep. And those introductory offers are good for anyone using NovoCare. You don't have to use GoodRx. More lives with guests. Yeah, we'll probably be doing that here. Dr. Spencer on his muscle mass study. Yeah, we could have Dr. Spencer back sometime. For sure. Very, very interesting stuff. Let's see. Susie lost 35 pounds on Zepbound, but forced to cash pay. So hopeful that on Medicare, she'll get approved one of the BMI. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about this earlier, just making sure your doctor uses your starting BMI when you get approved for that medication. Let's see here. Yeah. Well, we're getting pretty close to the end of the day here where I got to go pick up kids from school. So I want to thank you all for hanging out with me. Thank you all for being the best part of what we do here at On the Pen. If you haven't already subscribed, please jump over and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are on TikTok, please take a moment to hit the follow button because that makes our little ticker go off. When Hambone and I are sitting in here doing our work during the day and that little ticker goes up, while we're not doing anything at all, it's like a little bit of excitement to our day. So make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed over, or follow button, whatever they call it on TikTok. I can't remember. But if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thank you for being here and hanging out with me. Thank you for being the best part of what we do here at On the Pen. We got one more question. Hey, Dave, thank you for all you do. Week 7 on compound and down 23 pounds. That's amazing. Mike, dude, that is amazing progress. Amazing progress. That is very, very quick progress. 7 weeks, 20 pounds, 23 pounds down. Congratulations. We weigh about the same now, Mike. And so congratulations on your success. But I'm going to hang it up. Thank you for being here, and we'll catch you on the next one, my friends. Thank